So I want to tell you the story of how I built my freelance copywriting business from scratch with no experience, and share with you the steps that I took to go from literally zero, having no experience, to having my anchor clients and making, a consistent amount of money each month, replacing my last income at my full-time job by freelancing. And the reason I want to tell you that is I want to show you how it's possible for you if you do take the right steps. Because there are some copywriters who either they worked in-house for a company and that's how they were able to maybe go off on their own, or they started freelancing as a side hustle on top of their full-time job and they transitioned and built up their client base. And that was not my story either. I was unemployed when I began my freelance business and I had no experience. I had never been paid to write, which was actually very disappointing for me because I went to school for English. I was an English literature major and I wanted to go down that path, but I genuinely didn't think you could make money as a writer. And I knew, just because of my life situation, that I needed to make money and I needed something consistent. I needed something reliable and stable because I had a ton of student loan debt and I was living in New York City. So I think I had this image or this idea that my friends could go and maybe find fun jobs after graduation, but I needed to get to work and find something that was going to be enough for me to support myself. So I wound up getting into sales, which was not my plan. I don't think it's anyone's plan, but it wound up being lucrative. So I stuck with it for so many years. And even though I hit a lot of goals, a lot of life goals, and sales enabled me to have success, like I paid off my student loans. I was making six figures before the age of 30. So there was so many things that it did enable me to do, and I'm super grateful for it. But because it wasn't what I really wanted to do, and I knew that I wanted to do more, I knew there was a career out there that I could actually be interested in, I really became a very miserable person. I think my health was at its absolute worst. I got really burnt out and it was just not the best work environment for me. It was really high pressure. I had clients that were really inappropriate with me because I was an outside field rep, which meant that I had to go into people's offices. I was a lot of whining and dining, a lot of happy hours. So it put me in a very vulnerable position that I really was not comfortable with. And finally, I had enough and I kind of just snapped. And at my last sales job where I was making the most money, it was kind of like the peak of my career where I had built up, I had climbed the ladder and I got this really great position selling technology. I was a field rep. I had my own territory. I was making a ton of money and I totally snapped and I just quit with no backup plan because the conditions were just horrible. I had a micromanaging boss, and again, I had issues with these clients that were being inappropriate. So I quit with no backup plan, and I actually was getting unemployment. And although it felt like a big setback and it felt really disappointing because I'm a career-oriented person, it was kind of a blow to my ego. I actually had the time to breathe and do some research and say, what do I actually want to do? I was out of survival mode. So I was like, what would actually make me happy? And I knew that I wanted to write. So I said to myself, I'm going to look into this writing thing. Maybe I'm not going to be making as much as I did in my last job, but in the career field. So I kind of went down the Google rabbit hole and I discovered copywriting, which I just never really thought of. I had spoken to other marketers when I was in sales, so I understood that somebody had to write the content for our websites and stuff. But I found people on YouTube who were doing freelance copywriting and making a good amount of money, and it seemed like something, okay, if these other women or those other people are doing it, I could probably do it too. And I just remember I got lunch with my mom, around the same time, and I was telling her I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I felt so lost. And she was like, why don't you try the writing thing? You've always wanted to do that. Don't give up on that. And in her mind, she saw me as being something like a journalist or something. And that's the problem, is that a lot of people don't really understand what copywriting is, what content writing is, However, it's such a huge part of the internet, and every company needs a content writer and a copywriter, and the internet is powered by the content that is being written by people. So I had to do a lot of digging before I understood what this career field really was. But essentially, I figured, okay, instead of being a sales rep and selling to clients face to face, I'm going to be writing words that other salespeople use to sell technology or sell products or sell whatever. And the way that we're buying nowadays, that's huge because people are doing so much research before they purchase anything. So content is just so in demand right now. So that's the story of how I got the idea and decided I was going to do this. And time was running out because I was on unemployment and my checks were running out. They give you a specific amount of money before they cut you off and you have to actually go get a job. So I was kind of in a pinch and I knew I needed to get up and running and hit the ground running and actually figure this out. And I want to tell you the exact steps that I took to do this. And that was how the 30 Days to Paid Copywriting course came about. That's why I'm on Instagram. That's why I'm talking to you guys today, is because after I figured this out and actually mastered it and began making a full-time income, I said to myself, there's other people that are definitely gonna want to do this. Like, who wouldn't want to escape a shitty job or a really uncomfortable situation or something that's making them absolutely miserable? Who wouldn't want to escape that and work for yourself and actually, derive joy and meaning from their work? There has to be other people that want to do that. So that's why I'm, creating this course, because I think the one thing that's missing is that people don't understand how to reach out to clients and get them to talk to them, how to get on LinkedIn and send a cold pitch and start a conversation. Instead, what everyone's doing is going on Fiverr and Upwork. And I had heard of those sites too, but it's so low paying that I said to myself, I can't make a living writing for pennies like that, so that's not going to work for me. So I fell back on what I was taught to do as a salesperson, which was to reach out to clients and start conversations on LinkedIn. And that's what I teach, because a lot of people, are really uncomfortable, because let's be honest, it is uncomfortable at times and it takes a little bit of courage to send a cold pitch, or they just don't understand how to actually hey, let's find the client. Who's the client I'm going to reach out to? What do I say to them? What do I do to get them on a call? There's all these things that I learned as a salesperson that I used to become a freelancer that I want to share with everybody. And you don't have to be a professional salesperson to do this stuff, because I consider myself not the most outgoing. I was never the biggest networker and all that type of stuff. So I know that this is accessible for people. So I'm going to show you the 5 steps, and this is the framework that my course is built around. So number 1, it's choosing your niche. So meaning choosing your specialty, the one subject that you are an expert in that you're going to write in. And it's super important that you choose a niche. It's actually the biggest mistake I see copywriters make is not choosing a niche. They say, oh, I'm willing to write about anything. That is not the way to get up and running and start making money quickly. You have to have a specialty. For me, because I had sold technology, it was easier than most people. People get very confused around choosing a niche. They don't know what's profitable, what is going to be in demand, what they're interested in. So for me, at least I can say that was easy for me, because I knew I was going to do technology. I didn't think it was the most interesting niche, but I knew that there was a high demand and that people were paying really high rates for it. Step number 2 was publishing my own writing samples. Like I said, I didn't have any experience. I had no portfolio. I had to build that from scratch. So what I did was go on my ideal clients' websites. I looked at the blog posts that they were writing, and I literally just created a sample on my own. I opened a Google Doc and said, okay, I'm going to pretend that somebody just assigned me a blog post. I'm going to pick a topic and I'm going to write a sample. And I created my portfolio that way. Once I had the portfolio, I created a website. So I actually bought my own domain. I had never built a website in my life, so I went with the easiest website builder, which was Weebly. And by connecting the Weebly site builder to my domain, I used Bluehost. I actually created a janky, unprofessional looking website. but it worked. It was enough. I looked at what other writers were putting on their site and I just created a not great website, but it was something. Then once I had the website, step number 4 is that I hopped on LinkedIn. I updated my LinkedIn profile and I turned myself from salesperson to copywriter on my LinkedIn profile, which again, I did not have experience. But once I saw my profile come together, I kind of got some confidence. Once I saw my website come together, I felt a little bit more confidence. I think it's when you brand yourself a certain way or you're kind of reinventing yourself, you start to actually believe that you can pull this off. And that's why creating your website and your portfolio is so important. So I updated my LinkedIn profile. I made sure that my website was linked out on my LinkedIn profile, and really just optimized all of that. And once those 4 steps were in place, which is like building your online presence, I started to reach out to clients on LinkedIn, and I went through the process that I've taught you guys on here. I have free videos of how to find the clients, and I searched for them, and I sent them connection requests with a short pitch. Now, a lot of you guys are following me here because you've downloaded my free cold pitch templates, and that's the exact, like I shared with you guys the exact thing that I said to these clients. It's a very short sentence because that connection request has a word count limit. So you can't put a full pitch, but it's enough to entice them that you can introduce yourself to them and get them to accept the invitation. And then you start a conversation from there. And I've given you those templates as well of exactly what to say. And the key with those messages is really customization, is to not send a generic pitch, to actually customize your message to the person that you're reaching out to. And what I teach is how to customize at scale, which means that you have the frame of the message, you have the contents of the message in general, you have a template, but you customize each message a little bit so that you're not wasting a ton of time, customizing each message because you have to send a lot of cold pitches, but the things that will grab a client's attention are customized to them. So it's a really nice little system because you're customizing, but you're also moving at a rapid pace because this is a numbers game. You have to send a lot of cold pitches in order to get those results. So I actually landed my first freelance copywriting client in less than 30 days after starting this. And I literally have my little TJ Maxx planner still and has all the dates. And what I created in the course is actually based on that planner of like, okay, I gave myself this long to create a website. I gave myself this long to write my portfolio pieces. And then I started pitching on this day and I sent this many messages and it resulted in, this many responses, and I wound up, getting my first client in less than 30 days. And in less than 4 months, I was making a full-time income. So it was no longer reliant on these unemployment checks, and I couldn't believe it, but it started in stages. First, my first client was a software company, and they were paying me $1,100 per month to produce like 3 or 4 blogs per month. And for me, because I had been traditionally employed my whole life, I said to myself, oh my God, I'm actually paying my rent, which was $1,100 at the time, my studio at the time. I had one client that was paying my rent. And I said, when I realized my rent was being paid for, I was like, wow, like I can actually do this. Like, if I just get 3 more clients doing what I'm doing right now, I can pay all my bills. And, I'm maybe not going to be making 6 figures out the gate. Like I wasn't going to transition and make 6 figures immediately, but I didn't have to have a boss and I didn't have to deal with people. And I was really running my own business. About domain name, what is the best one? Personal name or create a name? I've been over 2 months. Yeah, I love this question because my domain name was my name, ChristineGamoka.com. It's still that because quite honestly, I did not know if I was going to stick with tech. I was like, I think I want to do this. I know I have experience in this and I know it's high paying, but what if I totally change my mind and want to go into like health and wellness or something like that? So I literally made my domain name ChristineGamoka.com. It remains that to this day. But if you want to do like, hey, b2btechwriting.com or healthandwellnesswriting.com, you can do that too. I would just say don't feel obligated to choose this name that's going to represent you for the rest of your career, because it's not that serious. You can, either buy a new domain or just stick with your name to keep it, to stay on the safe side. But yeah, I get that question a lot, so thanks for asking that. So that's kind of the origin, guys. I did not have writing experience. I did not have connections. I didn't have anything, but I did take the right steps and I did know how to utilize LinkedIn. That was my big advantage, was just utilizing LinkedIn. And like I said in my last video, I did not create content on LinkedIn. I was not posting on LinkedIn. I was just strategically sending these cold pitches until I got the desired result. And the benefit that I did have was being in a career where I had a boss over my head constantly saying, you need to send enough messages until you book a meeting and bring in business. And a lot of people don't have that benefit because they weren't in a sales job. You might be transitioning from another type of job where that is not natural to you. And that's what my course does, is says, hey, here's the steps, here's your message, send this many per day, here's what you say back to them. I really guide you and hold your hand and show you exactly what it is I did and what I continue to do to this day. And to give you an idea, I not only see it from the freelancer's perspective, I see it from the hiring manager's perspective as well, because I am also a content marketer and I hire and source writers. I've told a lot of you guys to send me your portfolios and stuff over the past few months because I actually hire writers. So I see it from both perspectives. I've been the person applying, but I've also been the person hiring, and I know what cuts through the noise, and that's exactly. Sorry, my battery's low, so it keeps pausing. But if you want to learn this framework, I am opening doors to the course. If you register before Monday, tomorrow, December 6th, it's $100 off the entire cost of the course. I'm also having 2 free workshops, Monday and Tuesday, that will give you kind of a better feel for this. And I actually teach you tangible skills that you can walk away with. So make sure you register for that. That's completely free. But if you are interested in the course, like I said, I'm running a $100 discount until tomorrow at midnight. And there is a coaching component to the course. So everything I teach you as you go through the modules, I have a coaching component where I gather all your questions and we get on a Zoom call. If you're shy and you don't want to talk directly to me, that's okay. I will answer your questions on the call and then send you the recording, or you can just listen silently. Or if you want to interact with me and get that one-on-one coaching, please take advantage of that too. That's the really great thing about this course, is that you're going to go through this stuff and you're going to learn the framework, but then you get to actually ask me questions to make sure that you understand everything and that you're doing everything right, because undoubtedly questions are going to come. So again, that's $100 off if you register before December 6th. I hope to see you guys in the course because I'm so excited about it. This will be my second time launching it, and we got great results from the last set of students that went through it. Or if you just want to do the free option and go to my webinar, register for my webinar. There's limited seats because I didn't pay for like the big fancy software, and I'm at 100 people so far, and I think the capacity is running thin. So I really look forward to seeing you guys, whether it's in the course or the webinar. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.